You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of our West of Scotland Football League Premier Division 2022-2023 season preview right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike. It's a pleasure as always to be joining you. On this part of the series we are going to speak to Auchinleck Talbot, Irvine Meadow, Troon and Petershill. We spoke to Auchinleck Talbot captain Andrew Leishman as they look to regain their title after losing it last season to Darvel. Irvine Meadow, we spoke to their player Willie Lyle about their hopes and aspirations for the season ahead as they look to move up the table as well. Troon, we spoke to their top goal scorer last season, Sam Jamieson, about their aspirations for the season after surviving the relegation. Sam Jamieson playing a huge part in that with his many goals. And newly promoted Petershill, the Conference champions for the season. We spoke to their manager Willie Kinniburgh about the season ahead. Let's start by talking to Auchinleck's Andy Leishman. So it's a pleasure to welcome onto the show the Auchinleck goalkeeper Andy Leishman. Andy, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, well, Scott, thanks for having me, mate.
You're about the 20th Auchinleck player we've had on since we started this. It's always a pleasure to welcome you on. How are you?
I'm not bad, mate. Yourself?
Aye, all good, mate. Looking forward to the season kicking off. Obviously, we'll reflect a wee bit on last season with you. Obviously, the Junior Cup and the South Challenge Cup double, but my disappointment, obviously, to not win the league, but trophies are what Auchinleck's about. So, and one way a really good season, but obviously disappointing not to win the league. Is that fair to say?
Aye, definitely. It's always good to win cup games, but the league last year, I thought we had it in the bag with about 7 games to go. The game we drew with Darvel down there, I thought, don't get beat that game, we'll probably win the league, but we just chucked it after that. Fair play to Darvel, they won other games, and we could have drew a lot of the last couple of games.
Mm-hmm. There's this myth going about, right, and I don't believe it, but you've heard it been mentioned that Auchinleck don't want to get promoted. Just what is that? What do you think about that when you hear that?
Just what you said there, a myth. It's one of the ones, kind of, you're putting this level now. You've got the criteria in place to go into the next level, so you don't want to. You just want to keep going as high as you can now.
Mm-hmm. And what's obviously been like Tucker's obviously a man. He's done it at this level for so many years. What's his kind of thoughts? Is it what I'm trying to probably say here is he is happy with 2 cups, or was it obviously would you have swapped the league for the 2 cups kind of thing? Like what do you think Tucker would think about that?
I don't know. He just wants to win everything as well. So winning 2 cups he's happy with. But the way we lost the league last year, I think I'd be more gutted with that because, as I say, I thought we were favourites to win it, and Darvel thought had too many games left, and everybody thought that. Apart for them, obviously, and fair play to them, they went on in a great run, and we just kind of chucked it in the end. But I'm gutted we didn't win the league, personally.
Aye, well, obviously the quick turnaround for last season. Obviously, you played the Junior Cup, which was like I think just over 5 weeks ago. Like it's been a quick turnaround. But how is it? Kind of a short break and then getting back for the season? Or are you just keen to get back to playing football as quickly as possible?
We look at that nearly every year. I prefer that, to be fair. I don't like to finish in April and have about 6 or 8 weeks off, then have to get back into it. But starting from scratch, so most of the boys are still in good shape and fitness is there. Quick holiday and then we're all turning about and back at it.
Obviously, transfer activity as well. You secured Chris Stafford permanently for Morton and Ali Parks, come in for Beath. They're 2 obviously really good signings. Is thoughts are more, and what's your thoughts on the 2 boys that have come back in?
Stafford had a good season last year. He was a young boy coming into a team. He learnt a good bit during the season, so that's a good signing this year. And also Ali Park was at us years ago, and he's learned his trade elsewhere, and he's come back. It'll be experience for us. We also signed Big Lewis Crawford for. He was at BSC last year. He came in and loan towards the end of the season. We've signed him as well, which is a good signing for defence. And a young boy, Ross Taylor, from Morton as well, is in. He's signed with us. He played with Coburn in loan last year.
Right.
So plenty of cover there as well. So I don't know if Tucker's planning getting 1 or 2 more in, but definitely strengthen. Maybe that wee bit of strength they could maybe get us out of the line this year, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously, what's pre-season been like as well? Obviously, getting some games under your belt. Is it good to just get back and get into
the way of playing again?
It's hard to get back after 10 days away and all-inclusive holiday, but it's good to get back, to be fair. Played Saturday against Troon and Petershill, good team. They've probably played 3 or 4 games now. And it was their first game, so it showed a wee bit of fitness towards the end. They scored 2 late on and ended up winning 3-2, but it'll come together the next couple of weeks. A game tomorrow night, and then Saturday again. They were in the league the following Saturday, so we've got a couple of weeks to get us fitness up.
Obviously, it's the second game of the season you've played, Darvel. It's obviously a quite big test at the start of the season, you'd agree?
Aye, definitely. It's not going to win you or lose your league then, but it's always good to play them that early, and we'll see where we're both at that stage, because the last game was a cracker, so if it lives up to that one, it'll be back edging again.
Absolutely. Obviously, as well, it's going to be a very competitive league this year. We've said that to everybody. The 3 teams coming up, and a lot of teams at the kind of lower end of the league last season have strengthened. It's going to be competitive all round. There's no easy game this year.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the league this year. It's definitely cutthroat. Everybody could beat everybody, I think, this year. And if you need to go on a wee run, you'll do all right, I think. It's just keeping that wee run going, and MD could beat anybody on their day.
Yeah, the big game mentality you've got. Obviously, he's beaten Hamilton last year, and he's had good cup runs as well. Is it exciting to be getting into the Scottish Cup as well again?
Aye, definitely. That's always a big bonus every season. Get to get in that and hopefully get a wee run. Don't get me wrong, there's a load of teams now got their criteria to get into the Scottish Cup, so it's going to be harder to get into the first round now. So you're going to need to be your best every game to get into the Scottish Cup first round. So you just get to take each game as it comes and hopefully get a good couple of draws. It helps us a wee bit along the way.
And obviously for yourself, from a personal perspective, you're the best goalkeeper in the league by a mile, and you have been for many years. Is it just a case of keeping that going and still enjoying the game?
Aye, definitely. You just need to just keep working hard at training, and on a Saturday just concentrate as long as you can. It's not going to get easier when you get older. I'm starting to get a wee bit older now, but I just need to keep trying, see how I get on. And it's not about me though, it's all about the team. It's the boys in front of me that help you out big time.
Definitely. But the overall target for the season, obviously, keen to wrestle that league back for Darvel.
Aye, definitely. That's my top priority, definitely. Same with the rest of the boys. Will be gutted that they went last year, so this is definitely the league this year we're going for, and hopefully we can get it.
Well, we're wishing you all the best for the season ahead, Andy. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Scott, thanks, mate. Catch you later, buddy.
So it's a pleasure to be joined by Irvine Meadow's Willie Lyle. Willie, it's a pleasure as always to welcome you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. How you been?
I've been all right. Same old.
It's a bit different, obviously, from last year when you were at Auchinleck. Now you're at Irvine Meadow. Obviously, you joined. I think was it February. You joined. How you kind of settled in?
Yeah, I joined in February. I took the decision that I wanted to go and play. Obviously, I wasn't playing as much as what I wanted to at Talbot, so I decided that I'm still not getting any younger. I'm 38, so I wanted to go and keep playing. So I chose to go to Meadow. It was a wee bit stop-start, to be honest, when I went last season. With injuries, obviously, I have no played, picking up some injuries. I ended up getting COVID, and then I'm being cup tied. So, but I've had a decent pre-season, and I'm looking forward to the season starting.
Brilliant. How's it obviously been like? We are obviously getting into a new club, and how impressed have you been with the kind of squad there? And obviously, James and Colin pretty well, the managers. How impressed have you been with the kind of setup there?
No, that was the thing. I know Spenny and Latta very well. Obviously, ex-teammates and that as well. So I had a few other clubs, but look, I know what Meadow is. Meadow's a sleeping giant in my eyes. They're a big club. And they're probably underachieved in recent years, but hopefully they'll get back to where they belong.
Yeah, absolutely as well. We'll touch on obviously last season in that kind of really tight position between kind of 7th and 13th. Meadow managed to obviously survive in the league, but you'll be hoping that they kind of boost and improve towards this season.
Definitely. Look, the goal every season is finish as high as you can and try and obviously win a cup or whatever. Last season was mental with 7 teams going down, and you like after the top 5, everybody else was looking over their shoulders, kind of type thing. And but Meadow were pretty safe, and but obviously we want to go and build on that this season and finish as high as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk through some of the players that Meadow brought in. Been quite impressed with some of the signings. Kieran Bebeki from Cumbernauld, Ross Urquhart for Rossvale, David Ramsey for Kilwinning as well. Some good business and some good kind of players for that league.
Definitely. All three you mentioned there look really good in training, looking sharp, looking ready to go. As I said, there's been an overturn of players. I think we've brought in 7 or 8 players, maybe even more. Yeah. Hopefully they all bed in and hit the ground running. But they've all impressed me so far.
What about pre-season? How you kind of found it? Kind of getting games under your belt and obviously new players kind of gelling in.
It's obviously been tough. You've always people away on holidays, stuff like that, and try to get people minutes. It's been a wee bit, but it's been decent. We've got a tough game: Stranraer, Caledonian Braves, Kilwinning, and then we played in the Kilburn tournament at the weekend there, which we managed to go and win. But yeah, they've been some tough games, but useful, definitely.
Brilliant. The kind of quick turnaround as well for last season. It's obviously not been long since the season ended, and obviously we're starting towards the end of July. He's kind of found that tough, or has it been just better to do that after the COVID fiasco?
To be fair, I'm pretty much used to it. I mean, it's don't usually get much of a break, so we think we 4 weeks max, which is for me personally is perfectly fine. I mean, 4 weeks off and get back into it. I mean, any longer and all legs maybe go. So the shorter the better, I think.
One thing we need to talk about is how competitive the league is, with obviously 3 teams coming up and a lot of teams kind of round about you strengthening, you are strengthening well. It's going to be really hard this season for a lot of teams, isn't it? But the competitive nature is unbelievable. It's
crazy. Every team seems to be strengthening, and you look at the league, and it's no disrespect to like Bonnet last year. They struggled really badly, and teams like that. But the league doesn't look like that this year. It doesn't. It looks as if it's going to be very competitive. Athletes come up and I think they went unbeaten in the league. Yeah. I mean, Cambuslang as well. But you cry it. They look strong as well. So look, it's going to be a right tough league.
What about kind of James and Colin? What's their kind of target for the season and aspirations?
Well, we've not really spoke about winning leagues or stuff like that. We need to be realistic, but the goal is always to be competitive in every game and try and win as many games as possible. See where it takes you. Obviously, what you want to go around in the cups, and obviously you get the Senior Scottish Cup as well. We'll be involved in that as well. So the goal is always obviously to win things like that as a goal. But there's not been any goals set. We just take it week by week and see, win as many games as possible and see where it takes us.
Well, we're wishing you all the best for the season ahead. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
So it's a pleasure to welcome Troon forward Sam Jamieson onto the show. Sam, it's a pleasure to welcome you on. Thanks for coming on.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. How are you? How are you enjoying the summer?
I enjoyed a few weeks off. Obviously, that was my first season that I'd played kind of every game in a season before. So it was good to have a few weeks break. But pre-season's been tough so far, and we're looking forward to getting the league started and getting the games up and running now.
Very good. We'll touch on obviously last season. It was obviously the main priority for every team was to secure survival in the Premier Division. How good was it to secure that, and how kind of well deserved was it?
Well, for Troon, it was probably a little bit of a slow start for us. We kind of struggled at the start of the season. As a young squad, there's a kind of big turnover in players as well from the start. But we've kind of settled that a little bit now, and we kind of know the boys better. But staying in the league, that was a priority for Jimmy and Dino last season, and we've done that. We did finish, I think it was the last one before the 7 teams that went down, but have to stay in the league. And this season's going to be probably even tougher in the league with the teams that have came up.
Yeah, obviously for yourself as well, I think it's fair to say if you didn't score as many goals as you did, Troon probably would be playing in the first division. So it must have been a great season for yourself personally.
I'm happy to score the goals and have such a big impact on Troon to keep us up. playing against in the top division against the better players is what you want to be doing, and going in cup runs, and and happy for like Dino and Jimmy trusting me every week to go and play and do what I want to do and score goals. So all of it's down to them.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Obviously, you mentioned Jimmy and Dean. What's their kind of opinions going into this season?
So the opinions going into this season with the squad, it's more settled now since the turn of the year. We've obviously added a few boys to the team as well, which has helped massively. Good additions, showed their quality already in pre-season. So I think for the group of boys that we've got, I think we should be looking for silverware this season, try to get our hands on a cup somewhere, and obviously to finish as high up the league as we can, and be a little bit more consistent in terms of last season, because we'd go through spells, we'd be doing really well, and then we'd hit a bad patch of 2 or 3 games which would knock us down again, and then we'd go on another rerunning spell. So hopefully a little bit more consistency. Like I said, the additions we've had to the team has been really good, really positive, and a couple of experienced boys as well that we've added, so really good.
And who's kind of come in? Who's been the kind of big signings in the summer so far?
So we signed Dale Burgess from Beeve, the goalkeeper, and then we've signed Kyle Gilroy and Logan, both from Bonneton, who've been really, really good in pre-season. Kyle scored a few goals. Dale's played a few games as well. So really, really good additions to the squad. And like I said, it's a more settled squad now that we've been together for the last 6-7 months, so we can know each other's games. So hopefully going into this season, we're going to be more consistent, win more games, and it's a bigger squad as well. So even with like substitutes and stuff like that are going to be coming on, can impact the game as well, which is a good thing in the league. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, you mentioned obviously pre-season. What's it been like? How's it been? How good's it been to get some games under your belt?
Yeah, tough. Obviously, the first few weeks are really hard sessions, loads of running, but adding on to the fact that we've been doing these hard running sessions, when we've been doing the training sessions as well, the quality of some of the boys have been shown and producing, as well as these difficult run sessions, has impressed me really, and it's a joy to be playing and training with the quality some of the boys have got here, and we just need to show it on a Saturday and show it on a match day so we can do well this season, and like I said, try get our hands on a trophy, because I think us boys, I think we are very capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm. And the competitive nature of the league we've spoke about with kind of everybody, you mentioned obviously like there's 3 teams coming up who will fancy their chances to kind of go up high in the league, but you look at that kind of 7th to 13th last season, there was only 5 points in it, so it is going to be a ridiculously competitive league this year. Would you agree with that?
No, totally agree with you. I probably speaking from the top end of the league last year, where Darvel obviously won the league, and then they obviously didn't manage to push on into to get promotion. So them staying in the league is again going to make it even tough up the top end of the league. You've got Paul and Talbot who have added players, who've signed players that are. It's going to be a really difficult league. And then, like I said, with the teams that have came up, they've made some good signings. They'll be wanting to stay in the league. They won't be happy just to stay down, to go back down to where they were playing before, I'd imagine. And then like you've got Glen Afton, who went on a really good run of games at the end of the season. Largs went on a really good run of games at the end of the season. So it's going to be a really tough league. Every week's going to be difficult, and everyone's going to be wanting to take points off one another, because that's what the league is capable of doing, is taking points off each other, and it's been really, really competitive, and I think it will be. And I think every game that we'll go to will be a good game, and it will be a good watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously for yourself, the kind of final question, you just want to continue that scoring run you were on last season?
Yeah, that's it for me. I want to set higher targets, higher goals, and do as best I can for the team first and foremost. But at the end of the day, being selfish, being a striker, I want to get those personal accolades as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're wishing you all the best for the season ahead. It's been a pleasure, Sam. Thank you.
Cheers, Scott. Thank you.
So it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Peterhill manager Willie Kinniburgh to the show. Willie, welcome on. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on your show.
It's an absolute pleasure. How are we?
Very well. Thanks very much. All good. Liking our wins a wee bit last night. Played a Thistle reserve team, and some of the boys that hadn't played much, and took a wee bit of a sore one. So liking our wins and looking forward to Saturday. We've got Greenock and our last friendly before we open the season against Pollock at home.
Brilliant. Obviously, for last season, it's been all changed at Petershill. You've took over from Martin Loughlin. What was it like getting into Petershill, and how easy was it to take the job?
Well, it was a no-brainer to take the job. Obviously, having a shot at it's not called the Super League anymore, the old Super League. Lockie and Carlo done an unbelievable job getting Petershill up there. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be the manager there now, trying to take us into a new season and try and compete with the big boys.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Obviously, what's the kind of turnaround been like since you went in? Like, we'll touch a bit on your kind of transfer activity with a lot of players coming in and out. Like, how you found it so far settling into the new club?
It's great. The facilities, we've got a park up there, the AstroTurf, so everything's in the one place. A big committee that are keen to help and kind of back you as best they can. So yeah, it's good. It's a job that we're really looking forward to. Under no illusions how difficult it will be, but we're really looking forward to it.
We'll touch a bit as well, obviously, on the kind of pre-season, but transfer activity. The kind of most of the kind of team for last season's kind of left to go elsewhere, like Ronan Sweeney, Stephen Docherty, Anthony Day. Like, how's it been kind of getting into like kind of having to kind of reassess it, kind of squad, and kind of change it for the kind of start? To be honest.
Yeah, well, when we managed to get offered the job, and we took it between myself and the two Johns and Mulsey, we identified players early on because we knew St Cadoc's obviously took Anstey and Ronan Sweeney, and Docherty went to Pollock. So we knew they were away, so we had to identify players early on and try and do our business as soon as possible, because unfortunately when it comes to the finances, we're maybe not up there. But we thought if we could get in early enough, we could maybe try and convince the best players possible to come and sign with us.
Mm-hmm. And you've kind of done some good business so far. We'll just touch on a few players like Jack Crumlish for Rob Roy, Eddie Ferns and Conor McLaughlin. I imagine those were kind of players you knew already.
Yeah, I knew Eddie and Conor well from Gartcairn. Conor came in at the tail end, having taken a wee bit of time out of football. He got the bug back. Great experience. Airdrie first team. So you knew he had the quality. It was getting relighting that fire in his belly and getting him loving football again, which he has, and he's come back into pre-season flying. Eddie, obviously, massive experience, been about good teams, very, very good player on his day, so that was a no-brainer trying to get him in. And Jack was a player that caught our eye with Ashfield last year when we played against them. Really well. Amateur, then a year in the kind of semi-pro, and I thought he's definitely a prospect for the future. Yeah,
obviously as well, a couple of good kind of forwards joined as well, Ross McPherson and Del Hepburn. Was that just obviously to replace the goals and how much you kind of looking forward to them coming into the squad?
Yeah, obviously Archie, massive experience, leads the line well. A guy that we pinpointed early on, who somebody we can rely on, not just for what he brings to the team, but also what he gives to all the other players, some of the younger boys as well. And then with Del Hepburn, that's a quick, tricky winger. Yeah. That the formation that we like to play and the style we like to play, he suits us to a team.
Yeah, absolutely. How's pre-season been? How good's it been to get some early games before the season starts?
It's great. It's great to get back into it. It's you tee up the friendlies and you put a squad together and you hope and you pray that everything gels. But it's never quite as easy as that. So a few ups and downs, but we learn as we go all the time. And ultimately, pre-season is just for the first game of the season, you need to hit the ground running because as we've seen, we've got Pollock first game of the season, massive club, massive team. So it's a great one for our fans as well.
Yeah, obviously one thing as well coming up for the conferences, it's a very competitive league, and yourselves, Athlone and Cambuslang, add to that. How kind of tough is this league going to be for? Every game's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
Absolutely. The conferences last year, I don't think any manager or player or coach last year would ever not say, and it's no disrespect to the other teams, but it wasn't every game wasn't full pelt, 100 mile an hour, backs to the wall against some teams. It was a lot of teams in the leagues that didn't have the resources and the finances that other teams did, so you weren't tested as much as you should have been every week. Whereas what we are getting into now, we are probably looked at as the underdogs. Every game's massive, absolutely massive. If you're not on the ball, you could get a couple of sore ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are the kind of overall targets for yourselves for the season when you kind of kick off? What's the kind of aspirations for the club this year?
You would be daft to say anything other than survival. How that works out with the positions in the league, with the way that the league structure is and who goes up and down, I'm not so sure. But survival in the league's number one priority. Anything further up the table, we will be delighted with. We'll aim as high as possible. Nothing's out with the realms of possibility. But we're under no illusions how hard it's going to be.
Well, we're wishing you all the best for the season ahead, Willie. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, thanks.